Good. It's on. Yes. Happy Halloween, weirdos. I'm Gory B Movie, and today we are celebrating week 4 of our 13 weeks of Halloween. Today we're going to be talking about Rob Zombie's Halloween from 2007 with two very special guests. Katie from Poppin' the Popcorn.
Hey, everybody.
And Night from the Night Watch Zone.
Yeah, boy, it's that time talking about Rob Zombie. Yeah.
Yeah. You got to say it like Rob Zombie. Yeah.
You.
He's the most positive just singer there is. So it's yeah. All right, who we got here in the gory hole? We've got the entertainment wizard, Fairpoint Station, Strange Monkey. Why am I using this voice? I don't know.
I know. I was just about to say this is
different. I get into like these little jives sometimes. It's unpredictable. We might get another special guest here today. So to refresh on what we're doing with these 13 weeks of Halloween, like we do with all movies on this show, we try to show a little bit of appreciation, a little bit of love for movies, even if they're not entirely popular. This may not be your favorite, but I'm going to tell you right now, it's a lot of people's favorite of the franchise. Every single one of these movies is, and we're really going to be focusing on why. Also getting deep into these movies, like getting into the themes and then pulling out the organs and just mushing them together and divining secrets from them. That's what we'll be doing. So I'm pretty flippin' excited. Are you guys excited?
I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go
too. So damn excited. You don't even know. Confused reviews. And Mr. Flickster.
Hey.
All right. So
hey, everybody.
We probably should preface with, hey, hold on a second. Look at you being all fashionably late.
Yeah, it's up.
Because Chucky needed to get his top hat on, yeah?
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's about to do some magic.
Chucky did. All right, so this is my buddy Romeo from the Nightmare Crypt.
Yeah, so I'm going to fix my lighting. It's all like, if I could fix it.
So these guests were hand-selected through a very, very careful process. Katie and Romeo, this is one of their favorite movies in the Halloween franchise, if not their favorite. I think it actually is Katie's favorite. And Knight, he's just a Michael Myers aficionado. Like Michael Myers was born, and then Knight was just like materialized in his brain, and he's lived there ever since.
Right.
So it's pretty exciting what we got going on here today. Let's start with Katie and Romeo. Why is this your favorite? I know it's really high up there.
This is besides Halloween 1978, this is my other favorite in the franchise. Just because I like how Rob Zombie did his take on this movie, how you get to see like the family dynamic and how it all started, and I just like the storyline the best.
Oh, am I supposed to speak?
Yeah, go for it, man. Just jump in.
So I don't know if I would say it's my like most favorite. I would definitely say it's like at least like my top 3 or top 5. Nice. I like the grittiness, like the tone and stuff of it, and I like how they depict Michael Myers as like this really like this force to be reckoned with, and I like the guy. I think his name is Tyler Mane, the guy that plays Michael Myers in this.
Yeah. Yep.
He does a phenomenal job, and he is horrifying.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why I really like this movie is just how he plays Michael Myers, and also all the people around the movie. Like I like Brad Dourif in it.
Mm-hmm.
I love Brad Dourif in the movie, especially in the second one. He does a really good job.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So true.
Yeah, so I just like that he's in the voice of Chucky and all. But
Oh yeah, you know how I feel about the Chuckster, man. Chucky's my number one guy.
Yeah,
Right.
Now
same.
wait till we do that one. Oh, it's gonna be just explosions of happiness. But I love my boy Michael too. I love them all. Knight, tell us how you feel about this movie.
You know, this movie, it's so interesting for me because I remember seeing it in the theater. I was really hyped up for it because, you know, I hadn't seen a Halloween movie in a whiles. And me and my brother Killian, we went to go see it. We had a blast. It was fun. I think Rob Zombie did pretty much what you'd have to do in this situation. You can't just redo what John had done in 78, right? You have to do something different. You have to bring your own flavor to it. So I think in that respect, it was very interesting. I agree. Brad Dourif was amazing in both of these movies, but especially part two. They really gave him a lot more weight in part two, or in Halloween
I love
2.
part two. That's one of my top three right there. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
As
I
anyone
love,
who watched last week knows, I sung its praises to high heaven.
right.
You're like, yeah, a little much, Corey.
No. But no, I think two has a lot of great stuff. But you know, for this
It
one, I
does.
think it was really cool. You know, you had Dee Wallace. I agree with Nightmare Crypt. I think Tyler Mane was totally horrifying, and it was a fresh take on Michael, and I think the franchise needed it at that point because you know it had kind of gone through some ups and downs. But the other thing that was really interesting was the whole dynamic with, you know, Sherry's, you know, character playing the mother and also young Michael. I thought that was really interesting. And then you bring in Loomis and you saw things that we didn't see in the original. I think for me, that was some of my favorite moments, kind of getting the behind the scenes of Loomis with Michael, you know, trying to help him, trying to reach him, and ultimately not being able to. So it's an interesting movie. It's definitely probably the best way that they could have done, you know, a quote unquote remake or however you want to, you know, consider. I guess it is a remake. So they probably did about as good as they could do because you can't just do beat for beat what they did in 78, you know?
Agreed.
Yeah.
I've had kind of a roller coaster ride with this movie personally. Like you, I was super excited. The only Halloween movie I'd seen in the theater was H2O. And so this was the second big one, and I saw it in the theater, and I remember I fucking loved it. I was like, oh, that's so different, you know? I like how they kind of borrowed, like a lot of people kind of discredit this movie and say it's they're borrowing too much from Jason. Really not, because Jason's motivated by revenge for his mother.
Right.
I'm going to get more into the Michael Myers character in this, but he is not motivated by revenge at all. We're going to dive deep into his psyche in a little bit. But I also like how it borrows like the mask relationship that we see with Leatherface, but it's still not the same. Leatherface changes with every face. Michael disappears beneath the face. So it's doing its own thing, but it's still borrowing from things I like. I like that big presence of him that didn't require padding. Part 4. Take notes.
George Wilbur.
But then it was kind of interesting because I got it on DVD and I still really liked it over the years. And then I upgraded to Blu-ray and I watched it. I was like, what the fuck is this shit? I hated it. I absolutely fucking hated it. It went very quickly to the bottom of my list because his director's cut might be a hot take here. I think his director's cut is terrible. I prefer the theatrical take. And if you don't have the theatrical, you can get it from Canada. It has the theatrical version of part 2, which that one I prefer the director's cut on. But this one, they've added like the whole breakfast scene. You did not need the extended version of that. That's just too much. My biggest complaint is the unnecessary and ridiculous rape scene.
Yeah, exactly. I don't like that either.
I don't either.
So then I, for a long time, really disliked this movie. I was really upset. I'm like, how did I used to like this? And then I realized the two cuts are completely different. So yes, I really enjoy the theatrical cut. That one's actually, you know, pretty decent on my list, but the director's cut would be dead last for me.
I will say, real quick, there's actually, if you know where to look, I forgot what the name of it is, but there's a cut that someone did on YouTube. Like they edited together, combining Halloween 1 and 2 to make a whole like new experience, and it's a really good cut. If I could find it, I'll definitely have to send it to you guys.
Yeah, a lot of people have made their own too. My friend Lee over on Drum Dums, he's made his own cut of this, part 2 and part 6. Those are pretty good cuts. One of these days, I might just make my own cut. Maybe I will.
Right?
Maybe I will. If I actually have time to do that, I will.
But I will say, I was going to say, I totally agree with you as far as, having the extended breakfast scene and, obviously the rape scene, like it just seemed like it was just like there was no reasoning for it. You know what I mean? Like I get it. Rob Zombie was just trying to show just literally hell on earth, different examples of it. But it didn't really, for me anyways, it didn't do anything for the story. It
really didn't. It was distracting.
Yes. It kind of took me out of it. Exactly. You said it best.
Agreed. But, like I said, all of my complaints about this movie, my complaints that really, bothered me, they are not in the theatrical cut. So I wish I would have grabbed it off the shelf. But the theatrical cut, it's hard to find, guys. So it is the DVD one, the DVD, not the one that says uncut on it, but the original 2-disc DVD, that one's theatrical. And then if you get the Canadian one that has the theatrical cut of this one in part 2, I highly recommend it. Any of your sets that you get from Scream Factory, you're going to get the director's cut. And I think if that's the only one you've seen, give this movie another chance. Give the theatrical cut a chance. Because like I said, I saw this in the theater and I was like, wow, that's different. And one thing I love about this franchise, I don't think there is truly a bad movie in the franchise. I think they all serve a purpose. But I love that all of these movies have tried to do something different. They've all tried to do their own thing. They've all tried to tell their own story. And even when I disagree with things that Rob Zombie does, I do believe that he is passionate about telling a story, that he's passionate about, creating exciting visuals, that he didn't phone this in at all.
Right. That's one thing you can say. He totally he put his heart and soul into it, and if nothing else, you gotta give him credit. I've seen him in interviews, most famously on Joe Rogan. And
I saw that.
I felt so bad for him, man, because the stuff he went through with the studio on both movies, it's just like, wow, man. I mean, just you hired him, let him do his movie and let's see what happens. Let the dice fall. Right. But he was really fighting battles all the way through. And, again, he didn't want to do beat for beat what John Carpenter did. And so in other words, and this happens a lot in franchises, and it is what it is, but you're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. If you make it too close to what 78 was, people are going to say you're just copying it. If you go in your own path, like he tried to do, then, a lot of times people are just like, whoa, that's not my Halloween.
You can't please everyone.
You can't. You can't.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's very true.
I'm going to quickly check in with the chat here. I know Valerie was saying she was looking forward to giving this another chance. So, Valerie, if you haven't seen that theatrical cut, definitely do. Also want to point out Wayne Turner's comment. He wants to know if Nightmare Crypt has a YouTube channel. All of my guests today have YouTube channels. You will find their links in the description down below. Highly recommend all these channels, so check them out. The other thing with this movie is Rob Zombie talked about this a lot. It's by the Weinstein brothers, which I swear to God, I feel like I'm turning into a freaking broken record whenever I get upset about studio meddling in a film. They're behind it,
right?
I mean, I give Bob Weinstein some credit. He did some cool stuff with Scream. He's not the worst, but Dimension, Miramax, they are behind a lot of just studio meddling. They don't trust their artists, which really frustrates me, because their first movie they did together was The Burning. They should know better than anyone to just hire a guy, like Knight said, let him do the job. And I guess on this movie, they would call him multiple times a day and tell him to change something and redo something. He just got so frustrated. And that's why I think there are some parts of this movie that are a little disjointed, because you can tell there's so many voices in his ear. And honestly, he wasn't super crazy about the remake part of it. I think that's why the first half of this movie is more exciting, because that's what he was more passionate about doing, is something that wasn't done before. He's said countless times, if you're going to remake something, don't do the same thing.
Right.
Exactly.
And you can tell that he was a little less passionate maybe about that second half, but he certainly tried to give it his own flavor, and he certainly made it more brutal.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, they even said to him, you know, we gotta redo some scenes. We gotta have some cool shots for the trailer. You know, and Rob is basically like, what? What are you talking about? So, you know, studio meddling is it's horrible, and we've seen that happen with so many really good directors and great directors. The master himself, Wes Craven, had to deal with that. I mean,
Yeah.
what? You're telling Wes Craven how to make a horror movie? What is going on? You know?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I'm going to point out Cal L's comment in the chat. He says, this is his favorite Halloween. I know it's a hot take. Actually, that's not. One of the exciting things about picking guests for this whole, 13 weeks of Halloween is every single one of these movies is somebody's favorite. So definitely tell me in the chat, if this is your favorite, tell me why. I think we all want to hear some different perspectives. You know, it's not my favorite, but I appreciate this movie, and I want to know more from people who love it. Why? I think that's exciting. But first, I want to just squish my hand into Michael's sweet little cranium and pull out all the goo and get into it, because I think he is so psychologically interesting in this shit. All right. That was
I agree.
an eloquent way of putting that, but let's just get So I think that Zombie came into this saying, how does a monster like Michael Myers get created? They didn't really give us a lot to work with. If you look at the 78, he's got the blackest eyes, he's pure evil, tried to reach him for 8 years, then just try to keep him locked up. All right, you're not giving the poor man a lot to do here for a prequel. So he has a couple different explanations for why Michael is the way he is. One of them is proposed by Loomis. Loomis says there was a combination of internal and external factors. I think he's saying he had a bad childhood. He also obviously was born with some, issues that made him susceptible to becoming a killer.
Yep. Which is interesting. I mean, it's a different take, and I think that the movie, in this version of his mythology, I think they showed it. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't just say, internal and external factors created this monster. They actually showed it. Even right in the beginning of the movie, when they show him as a child, he's very distant. He's very, just kind of, you could just tell that there's some things going on inside of him, like this battle that's being taken place. And of course, with the home that he lived in, the environment that he lived in, the bullying that he dealt with, it was a firecracker waiting to go off, and they showed it, instead of just saying it. And I appreciated that.
I don't check in with the chat. By the way, guys, I appreciate you in the chat. I don't check in with the chat a whole lot during these ones because I really want to have a good discussion, but there will be Q&A period at the end. So if I miss your comments, just hang on to them. But I did ask Cal L why this is his favorite, and he said the kills and how big and intense he is in the backstory. Dr. Loomis's casting, not too much into that Laurie, it all just worked for me. I really like this movie a lot. That's awesome. So talking about the internal and exterior factor, we got his bullying. From the spy kid whose penis I saw in Green Inferno and who I've read has side-by-side toilets with his wife. He's an interesting fellow. He's bullying our dear Michael in this. His mom is a stripper, though I do like that they didn't use that as like a reason. They show that she's actually one of the characters who's looking out for Michael, who loves Michael. So they're not like shaming her for having a career as an exotic dancer, which I really like. I think a lot of movies do that. He has a horrible. Okay, let's talk about Ronnie. Fucking Ronnie. I fucking hate Ronnie. I hate Ronnie so much. And here's the thing. Sherry Moon Zombie, she can get it. That girl is hot, right? I don't care how old she gets. She's just like not aging. She's gorgeous. Rob Zombie knows it. We appreciate him, sharing her with the rest of the world. However, she's way too hot for Ronnie. Okay? And don't tell me it's because
I agree with you.
Money. Because the man is crippled, all right? He's crippled. He's getting disability. Sherry Moon can get it, dude. She can go bring in a doctor or something. What is she doing with Ronnie? Someone explain this to me.
I have no clue. Your guess is like mine. I have no clue what she's doing.
Romeo, come on.
No idea.
I mean, it gives me hope because it's like if Ronnie can pull in someone like Sherry Moon Zombie, we all have hope, guys. You know, don't sit there feeling bad that you're alone if you're single. Ronnie pulled in Cherry Moon Zombie, and he was crippled.
Well, and you gotta love William Forsythe because he could really play a scumbag, can't he? I mean, like his whole monologue at the breakfast table, it was just like when I was in the theater, I was like, oh, okay, this is how it's gonna go. You know, as an actor, you know, he just had a lot of he just always stands out. But the character, you just loved to hate him. You know,
I'm so happy to see him die.
Yes, you were just waiting for that moment. You're like, please tell me it's gonna happen soon. As sure as hell it did.
Dude, that was gory when he died too.
It was. I think one of the decisions for that was because I feel like Rob wants us to sympathize with Michael. Like, okay, you know, I know he's evil, but let's give him a chance here. Let's sympathize with him. Let's look at him the way characters who love him, like his mom and Dr. Loomis, who cares a lot about him. Let's look at him from their point of view as a child. And let's be on his side. And if he had a sympathetic stepfather figure, we're going to be more inclined to pull back on that first kill. But the worse he is, we're actually cheering with Michael. We're still on his side, you know, and we need to be on his side to understand the story they're trying to tell us. So I think it's actually really, really effective. Talked a little bit about more how the movie gives us another explanation for Michael's psyche. And this one I like a little bit more. And this one I'm really bummed about because the best explanation is in a deleted scene that I think should have been left in. I think Rob Zombie tends to leave too much stuff in sometimes. And this is one deleted scene that you should have kept it in. It's a scene where Loomis and Michael are sitting across from a table and he's asking him, you know, how do you feel about the devil? What does the devil make you think of? And Michael says, I think of blackness. I think of emptiness. And this is important because we have that quote in our head, the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. Right? What does that mean? That means emptiness. In this story, that's what this means. And then he goes into talking about the mask. He's like, well, why the mask? You know, he's like, you know, these are kind of sad. You know, why are you so connected? And he's like, I just want to disappear. And it's really sad to hear a little boy say that.
Yeah.
And so it's a combination of these things. What Michael is hurting. He is somebody who's in so much pain. There's only 3 things this kid loves. He loves his baby sister. He loves his mama. He loves Halloween. And he will hang on to those things. But the more pain he gets, the more he shuts down, the more he gets rid of hope, the more he gets rid of his humanity. And he's hiding in that dark. He's hiding behind the mask. And we know from part 2, that little boy is still there. He's hiding in the dark. He never fully left. But he recedes more and more and more. This movie goes. And the last things to go are his sister, his mom, and Halloween. That's why he comes back on Halloween. That's why he comes for his sister. That's why he sees his mom, the second one, because that's the last little bit of humanity he has. But that kid is tucked way back there in the dark. And it's really sad. And I think it's really effective.
It is sad.
That in.
Yes, I agree.
That would have been perfect.
Yep. I think, you know, because anytime you have those scenes with him and Loomis, you know, it's I mean, that's kind of what this movie is about. It's that inside look into Michael, you know, who Michael is, how he came to be the boogeyman, you know, for better or for worse. Now, some people, you know, they're not big on that idea of learning about that, and then some people appreciate it. I thought all those scenes with Loomis and Michael were fantastic. You know, and it was some really good conversation. I mean, Malcolm McDowell. I mean, come on. I mean, he's iconic. He's a legend. So let the man work.
Yeah, and that scene didn't over-explain it. It gave us just enough. Like, I mean, for me, a lot of that's my interpretation. It gave us just enough to put the pieces together. There is some of that still left in the movie, but I liked that because I needed to understand what Michael thought of the devil, why he has the mask. And those 2 things came from that scene. And I just wish it was in there because I think it's so important.
Same.
Yeah.
I feel like it adds to the movie in a way, you know, it adds explanation and it doesn't like give too much, you know.
I you know, especially like when you watch part 2, I think it makes it come together a lot more because you know that little kid he was is still in there. You can even apply it to like David Gordon Green's because it's essentially an empty shell. It's a shell full of darkness, you know, which is essentially in this universe, that's the devil. It's just emptiness, just darkness, which means it can do anything without emotion, without remorse. But in the far, far back corner of this dark room is a little boy. And that's why we get crazy stuff like Michael putting on a ghost, Michael dressing up as a ghost. And, you know, Michael just doing these little funny little childlike things. It's because there's a
Yeah.
little boy in there, hiding
Yep.
in there in the dark.
And
Yeah,
that mask
examining like
is
he does
everything.
that head tilt when he kills someone.
Yeah.
That too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And the
That
mask is
curiosity, that
everything.
childlike curiosity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yep. Absolutely. It makes sense. It really does make sense. Like, watching the movie, and anytime I've watched it since, I mean, I've seen it many, many times, I never feel cheated by what they were trying to do with the story, or how Rob crafted the movie. I never felt like
Mhm.
this doesn't make any damn sense. And even though I love all the movies in the franchise, there are some movies that don't work story-wise all the time, but you could still appreciate it, enjoy it, and have fun with it. This actually is one of the movies I think that the story worked. The story really worked, for what he was trying to do. And again, I just got to give him credit for that. But one thing too, like you were just saying, the whole childlike behavior, that mask, man, I think that was so cool, showing his connection to the mask and why he was wearing the mask, and even Loomis talking about the mask and how it was losing human features and all these different. It was almost like we were able to. And I know Malcolm McDonald isn't Donald Pleasance, but it was almost like we were kind of reconnecting to that spirit of Loomis, kind of, just overall
Right.
as the character. And I remember in the theater, I was telling my brothers, like, man, this is pretty good. I like it, so
Mhm.
And
it was
Sandy, I
cool.
don't know if you caught the beginning of this. Yes, that opening scene and the rape scene, I absolutely hate those scenes. Watch the
Yeah.
theatrical cut; they are not in there. You can get it, the Canadian 2-disc one. I'm going to put a link to that in the description when this is over, because that is, to me, the way to watch this movie. Otherwise,
Yeah,
to
exactly.
me, it's
It
really
is.
a rough go.
I agree, because most
Yes.
people watch the other version versus the theatrical version of the movie. I can't talk.
And Brandon says it makes me sad that people call this a horrible version of Halloween. If you're talking about the director's cut, yeah, I'm not a big fan. But if you are, I am not the definitive opinion on this. So share your opinion. If you love the director's cut more, let's hear it. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. I'm always trying to better understand movies, and I can't do that by just listening to myself.
Right.
Yeah.
So we talked about Michael Myers. I think the other really interesting character in this, we're going to talk about a couple other characters, but the other really one that interests me is Loomis. One, I love hippie Loomis so much. He is adorable.
Me
With
too.
sweet little hippie hair. And I really see this as part of a journey that culminates in part 2. I don't really care. I don't agree with the hate that he gets in part 2, because I see that as a person who is suffering extreme PTSD, and at the end of this really hard journey, what
Right.
it's done to him. And we all respond differently. We're not
Yeah.
all going to respond the same way. We're not going to all be the best of us. We're not going to all be Sidney Prescott. I wish we could all be, because she
Yeah.
prevails, but not all of us do. And this is a story about those who don't. It's a
That's a
tragedy.
good point. That's a good way to explain it.
Yeah, very.
Yeah, these are tragedies, both of these movies. So it's not supposed to make you feel good. It's a sad story. And unfortunately, a lot of real life stories about serial killers are sad stories. They're tragic.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
But what I love about this movie is, if you come to this movie, you're going to understand Loomis in part 2 better. So Loomis, he is so sweet in this film, especially in the beginning. You can tell he's this hippie guy who believes everybody's essentially good. Another deleted scene I really like. It seems stupid, but it shows us his worldview. It's Christmas time, and he's telling her, like, wasn't it nice the meal they made for us? And he said, they have a really hard job. Who thinks about that? He has all these problems in front of him. He's thinking about the people who have to cook dinner on Christmas at the prison, or at in the sanitarium. Like, this is somebody who thinks about other people a lot. This is somebody who believes people are essentially good. And he sees this little boy, and he is beating himself up. Like, why can't I connect to him? The harder and harder he tries, Michael is just slipping away from him, and he blames himself. But the other thing is, the longer he's with him, the harder he gets. We see the change in haircut. We see the change in his demeanor. He is getting colder, and he is getting harder. And whether or not he does it intentionally, I think the reason he walks away from Michael is he's like, if I stay with this man any longer, I will lose myself.
Yes.
I will become like him. I will be a shell of a man. And so I think he does that, and he's already lost a lot of himself, like doing the book and everything. That's not what Loomis in the beginning would have done.
Right.
But I don't think he ever forgives himself. I think he always beats himself up for walking away because Michael is like a son to him. He even tells him, he says, "You're my best friend." This is the person he's probably
That
spent
was a
more
great
time with.
scene.
Yeah,
You
that
know,
was.
I loved that scene, and it actually,
too.
when I saw it, it kind of made me really sad because I never really, I never really thought about it like that with the 78, and that timeline with Donald Pleasance. I just thought of
Yeah.
it more as like the cold, not cold, but just a doctor doing his job.
Right.
Yes, he cares, but it's still a job. But with this version, which is so funny because this is the quote unquote the Rob Zombie Halloween, but in this version, Malcolm McDowell was able to make you really see a very, like you said, a kind and very human Dr. Loomis. And when he said, "You're my best friend," I was just like, wow, it's just really sad. And you could feel, like you said, he knew he lost that battle to kind of reclaim that little
Right.
boy. And
Yeah.
if he stayed there, he just would have wallowed in darkness, and I totally agree with that. That's such a great point, Gory.
Yeah, I agree too.
And another important thing to point out, again, I've said this with every movie we've talked about so far in the Halloween franchise. We cannot keep comparing them to 78. You want 78, it's still there. It never went anywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
We can let other things be their own thing.
Yeah, exactly. I
This is
agree with
not Donald Pleasance, guys. This is a
No.
different character. It's it's a different take on the character because what happened with Donald Pleasance's character, he spent 8 years trying to get through to Michael, and then another 8 years getting him locked up. After 8 years, he realized that this child is pure evil and he is a threat to the rest of the world. He treated him as something that we needed to be protected from. That is a different character. That's a different Michael. That's a different Loomis. That is not this Loomis. This Loomis, even in part 2, never fully believes that Michael is evil. And a lot of the deleted scenes, again, Michael's mom asks him, "Is he a monster?" He's like, "No, I don't believe that." And that's why he has so much guilt. Because if he thought Michael was a monster, he's not going to feel bad about walking away. He's not.
Right.
That's why he has so much guilt, because to him, there's still a little boy in this dark room and he just wants to find him. He wants to pull him out, but he doesn't know how to do that without losing himself. It's like that further in Insidious. How to go in there and get the kid without getting lost in it.
Yes.
And he doesn't know how. He doesn't have the skills. But when he sees that Lori, another child, another chance at redemption, is in trouble, he gets back in there. And at first you can tell he's got that, that passion, like, I'm going to do it right this time. I'm going to save the girl. And maybe I can even one last shot, like one last Hail Mary pass, get to Michael. And you know what Michael does? He crushes his damn head in. And the little girl's scarred. Well, the teenage girl is scarred. So this is why he's an asshole in part 2, because he had such a big heart and it got ripped out of him. He is so hurt and so vulnerable and has so much PTSD and fear. That is why he is now in his own shell of this really hostile man who's trying to push everybody away because he can't be around people anymore because people just let him down and hurt him.
Good point.
Yeah.
It is a really good point.
I'm ranting a lot. Romeo, chime in here, dude. Save me from myself.
I mean, I will say the one thing I really like about this version of Loomis is it is like, their own version of Dr. Loomis. It's not just a carbon copy of Donald Pleasance. And I really like that about the character. And I feel like in a way, like, though I might get hate for this, like, there's a lot more depth to Malcolm McDowell's version than Donald Pleasance. Just because they provide him with so much, like, so many, like, character building scenes, if that makes sense. And so I feel like, in a way, they fleshed out that version more than the original.
Yeah.
And so I will say, like, they did a really good job on Malcolm McDowell's take on Dr. Loomis. I definitely think he's a really good, very high, like, big highlight of the film, in my opinion.
I really like what you have to say there, because I think the beauty of 78 is the simplicity. It's a movie that should not be a classic. It's a really simple story with very simple characters.
Yeah.
Nobody's really that well explored. The story isn't that complicated, but it comes together so well with just perfect casting, perfect direction, perfect everything. Took something that should not be a masterpiece and made it one. But you're never going to duplicate that again. And so I like that Rob Zombie is like, okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to try and do the opposite. I'm going to make this really deep, and I'm going to add a lot of layers to this, and I'm going to give this something that we can kind of, get into and explore.
And I like how he made his Dr. Loomis different from the other ones, and how his Dr. Loomis is more complex because he's a human and he's trying to figure out what Michael is, or like why Michael's killing these people, and like his childhood, and like if there was no Dr. Loomis, there might not even be a Michael like that,
Yeah.
Well said. Well said. It's like Joseph Campbell. He does the hero's myth. It's a lot of Star Wars and some other things, but it's basically that all hero stories are essentially the same. And one of the key parts of that is that the hero and the villain are two sides of the same coin. So like Darth Vader and Luke. What if one had accepted the dark side and the other one didn't? They're the same person if they took different paths. And so I like that this Loomis matches this Michael. This Loomis is complicated and flawed and has a really soft, center that he's trying to protect. And he's just adding layers of armor on it, just like Michael is. They match each other, just like the simpler madman that I love, that is Donald Pleasance. He matches the simpler madman that is Michael Myers in the other films.
Right.
They need to go together. They are compatible.
Yes.
And even in those scenes where he's still trying to reach Michael, as a young kid, and Michael's talking about when is mommy coming by, and acting like nothing had happened. Oh, that didn't happen. And it's obviously just paralleling to what we see in the real world with people, when they have that, they disassociate with trauma and things that they do and so forth. So again, it was crafting this whole cushion for this character that at that point we had known for 30 years or whatever, and it worked. It really, really worked, because like you said, they matched each other, because Loomis was very caring, and then you had this little boy, although he did a horrible act, he loves his mother, he loves his baby sister, and all he wants is to be a kid. He tried to be a kid, but circumstances wouldn't necessarily let him. A lot of it was external, but obviously there has to be something inside too. We all have that darkness inside of us.
Right.
And sometimes it only takes, how the Joker said, all it takes is just one bad day. Right? You know what I'm saying? So, I think this movie is just really showing, it's not just one bad day, but it's a lot of bad days. And then there's this monster. That's the answer to the equation, And
how some
really
people, they feel like they miss, like especially people who've had to have their childhood cut short for whatever reason, and then they try to get it back in their adulthood, and they act out immature. I feel in a way that's kind of how Michael Myers is. Like, he got that childhood taken away, and he's like, God damn it, I'm gonna have a good fucking Halloween one of these years. I'm gonna go trick or treating, hang out with my sister. It's gonna be a good time.
Right.
Everything's coming up, Michael.
Yeah. I mean, when he was sitting on the steps.
When he was sitting on the
steps, I was just like, man, that sucks. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, I'm telling you, when I saw this movie in the theater that first time, it was really like hitting me. I was like, wow. I don't know what you guys expected when you first saw it, but I did not expect that, when I first saw this movie. So again, it was really interesting to kind of go in that different direction and get all these little gems, in this mythology that was different than what I had known, for the previous 30 years of Michael Myers, of Loomis, of Laurie. I mean, we haven't even gotten to Laurie yet, but her as well. She was depicted differently as well. And a lot of cool things. So
thank you everyone for noticing my awesome bog one. I put it there intentionally for your enjoyment. So I want to talk about something someone mentioned in the chat. Sandy mentioned the Danny Trejo kill. I love the Danny Trejo character because
I felt
He
so
has
bad
a
for
little
him.
less wherewithal than Loomis does, because Loomis is talking to Mike all the time. So he's like, he knows that kid is receding. Whereas Danny Trejo's character, I think, you know, and I think the reason this is so personal to him is in real life, Danny Trejo was locked up for a long time. And so he never sees that kid is gone. He just sees this kid who was locked up, and he's like, you know, don't look at the walls, you know, and he's just trying to, he's putting himself into it too much.
Yeah.
And so he doesn't realize when Michael's gone and it's too late. And when, you know, Michael attacks him, he thinks, you know, that little boy is still there. And he's like, I was good to you. And it's like, oh, honey, that boy's way gone. He can't hear you.
I felt
It's
so
sad.
bad for him. That scene, yeah, that kill is hard to watch.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I felt bad. I was like, oh man, not Danny Trejo.
I loved his
you
character.
need a machete his ass, dude.
He needs
Yeah,
I know.
a machete. A machete.
Yes.
I love Danny Trejo. He's awesome.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, he is.
He's always good, you know.
He was great. There's so many great characters. I also want to talk about Joe Grizzly.
Yes,
Oh,
thank
so
you.
sweet.
Thank you. That was one of my favorite parts, man.
Yes.
As soon as I loved it, as soon as he gets out of the truck and you know, and you hear the Rush playing, you know, Tom
I
Sawyer.
love the soundtrack. Yeah.
I was like, what? It is Ken Faree. I'm like, okay, I'm in. And you know, I just love it. You know, I'm Joe Grizzly, bitch.
Yeah.
I know, right?
It was
Oh,
great.
he's great.
Yeah.
I feel like all these kills serve a purpose. They either show us, you know, that, you know, Michael's changed, like Danny Trejo's kill, or the Joe Grizzly one. It's like, this isn't a little boy anymore. You know, if you can fuck up Joe Grizzly, you need to be feared.
Right?
You know?
Yeah.
I wouldn't mess with Joe Grizzly. I would let the man shit in peace.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
What did he say? I got a taco.
He had a
Supreme
knife
talking
too. He
about
stabbed him in the
tacos.
gut.
Yeah, he
He
did.
Yeah, he did.
One of the things I love about Rob Zombie, I talked about this on our last one because, you know, we're going backwards. We're going up to 78. Rob Zombie, he does dark stuff, but you can see where he has his fun. And where he has his fun is a lot of times is his casting. He dream casts his movies with people that he loves. So you get Ken Faree and you get Danny Trejo and you get Dee Wallace, who I love. She's like one of my all-time favorite actresses. She's the perfect, I mean, she's like America's mom.
Yes.
You know,
Yes, she is.
and Critters and Cujo, like she's just this mom we've grown up with, and so having her be a mom again in this was really special, you know.
Yeah. Her death scene, I was like, oh man, I was like, no.
I was too.
Not Dee. I love Dee Wallace. She's literally a treasure. Literally.
Let's talk about Danielle Harris.
Yes. Oh man, it was so cool seeing her back. You know, in a Halloween movie. It was so cool. Neat. Yes. I love Danielle.
She's so it's not the same character, but it was nice to see her again. It's nice to see him pay tribute to her. I really hope they find a way to bring her into David Gordon Green's. And she just put a post on Twitter recently saying, let's bring Jamie back. I really want to see that happen, especially since she's down to do it. You know, Jamie Lee Curtis has made it pretty clear that she's done her Halloween time. She's done. All right. Let the woman take a break, at least a break, if not just let her retire. Let's go explore Jamie Lee Curtis, or not Jamie, explore Jamie Lloyd, and let's explore Season of the Witch. There's a lot of a lot of Halloween stories we can tell, and we don't need Laurie for all of them.
Yeah. And Danielle Harris is some synonymous with the franchise. You know, I mean, when you think of the franchise, you obviously Michael, Donald Pleasance, Jamie Lee Curtis, but also Danielle Harris to me, you know, I mean, she was in some really good movies. And then of course, you know, Rob Zombie bringing her back, and she knocked it out of the park, especially in Halloween 2. Halloween, to me, Halloween 2 was Danielle Harris and Brad Dourif, you know, as far as like a lot of weighty moments. They just shined. I absolutely adored both of them.
I like how the dynamic here changes, because in this movie we see that she's this cute, like kind of party girl, not quite as much as Linda, but definitely pushing her boundaries. Like, my daddy's the sheriff. Like, she's so cute. And then in the second one, she's like, no, I don't do friends. I don't leave the house. I'm basically a mom now. You know, she takes the reverse. Whereas Laurie in this, I mean, she's more playful than I guess our original Laurie, but she is still the one who's like, I'm gonna babysit tonight, and that's what she's doing. Whereas in the second one, she's more like, I'm gonna go party and get drunk, and they switch roles.
Yep, absolutely. It was cool seeing it.
Great,
Yeah.
great cast. Am I missing anybody else? I feel like I am. Like really good side characters.
I know that Sid Haig appears in it at one point as a cameo.
Yeah, he shows him the
Yes.
grave. He does.
Yeah.
Sid Haig is also the reason we get Richard Brake in part 2 because Sid Haig recommended him, which was a great partnership.
Richard Brake he's great. I like him.
He's
as well.
terrific. I just thought of another one. The little boy who plays Tommy Doyle. He was just in that the Quarry video game, and he's in Santa Clarita Diet.
I still need to finish that game.
I love the little girl who plays Lindsay in this too. She is sassy sassafras.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Yep.
So yeah, I love the cast. Let's talk a little bit, and we're gonna. I know, like Knight, you gotta go, so I was gonna make this one a little bit shorter, but a little bit about the second half of the movie. One of the things I think is really good about this film is it does have brutal kills. I think my favorite kill in the movie is the boyfriend who gets killed in the beginning, and just that twitching. That's just
when he gets hit with the baseball bat. Oh yeah, I know what you're talking
I agree.
about.
That was tough, man. I was like, wow.
It's just like it's not gory, but it's so like gritty, It's so graphic, and that's what I like about that.
Real.
Yeah, I was just about to say, it's like you feel it. Like I remember
exactly.
in the theater, there were people gasping, like, and I was like, right? Yeah.
Like that's how you do an actual scary, gory kill. Like it's something like that. Like it's not gory, but it's just the way that they play it off is effective.
Yeah, visceral is a good word for it. And definitely, guys, start posting your end questions in the chat because we're gonna be wrapping it up here pretty soonish. But yeah, I think the kills in here are highly effective. Another thing I don't think gets enough credit for this movie is it's the best mask we had since 6, and before that, I mean, honestly, I don't know how they keep getting the mask wrong, especially in the early even in the second one, they have the exact same mask, but it's so beat up. Like the mask from 1 to 6 is pretty rough. Not counting Season of the Witch because it's perfection.
Howard 5 looks so weird. The Howard 5 one, it looks like an alien.
It's Greg Nicotero.
Yeah, it does.
It's Greg Nicotero's face in the mold. And then 6 did a great job. And then this movie, it's like, finally, was it that hard to do a good Michael Myers mask? And now the new ones are doing great. Like now we're on a good forward motion. But I thought the mask was terrific. The way the mask was aged when he finds it later on.
It looks really good. It looks terrifying too.
Yeah, it does.
Like it stinks.
Right.
I mean, it probably smells like aged
latex.
Right. It shouldn't have that really satisfying plastic smell. I love that smell. I don't want to huff this mask. Like this mask should look nasty. It should look like it smells like sweat and death, and it does.
It does.
Like everything else in a Rob Zombie movie.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want me to rant about the mask, so I'll just say I agree.
Go for it.
I agree with everything you said because it's like, how can you not get the mask right? It's a William Shatner mask. You just mess around with it a little bit, age it a little bit, and that's it. But 4 and 5 were ridiculous.
They were horrible.
6,
I mean, I like the 4
one. Pretty good.
Well, I thought 4 looks good.
Put it this way: I'm used to it now, but versus the original, like 1 and 2, it's just like, wait a minute, what? How did they? Why is it so different? It's like it's like flat. I don't know if that's the right word to use, but it just looks so flat. Whereas like with 1 and 2, you I don't know. It's hard for me to. I get ranty about it, so I won't do that. But anyways, but this mask was really good.
Didn't they steal like Halloween 4? Didn't Michael Myers steal that one from like a gas station or something?
Well, it was a costume store.
It was like
a costume store,
like a drugstore that they took.
Yeah, it's like something like that. Yeah, and so it's just a completely new mask compared to the other ones.
Yeah, I mean, you could look at it that way, but then of course you go to 5, and it's like, wait a minute, what? And no shade to Don Shanks because I love Don Shanks. I think he was good as Michael, but that mask was a travesty. It really was. But
Halloween
thankfully,
5,
Katie, you doing okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I don't know why they were asking
about you.
I accidentally hit the wrong button on.
You doing all right? All right. Here's a question. How did Michael know where she lived? I guess it's a good question because she got adopted. Well, sort of adopted. How does he know where she lives?
I think I know because didn't he like see her through like the window of his old house,
Yeah.
and then he
Because he
started
goes home
stalking her after
first.
that.
Yeah. He goes
Yeah,
home
he
and
goes
sees
home
her.
first, and then she drops off the key, like in the original.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's how he sees
Yeah.
her, and he
Mhm.
and then he starts
recognizes her.
stalking her,
And
stuff.
he actually followed her in broad daylight. Like
Yeah.
freaking Michael Audrey Myers is walking down the street bebopping, and like no, and it wasn't Well, was it Halloween? I don't know. But the point is, it's broad daylight. You see this 6'5" dude in a Michael Myers mask walking down the street, and he
Right.
was, following Laurie Strode. And I remember when I first saw that, I was like, dude, there's the shape. He's right there. And
Right.
but it goes along with what I think is so cool about his mythology, is like he's right there in plain sight, but you don't see him. You know what I'm saying? And he seems like he's more otherworldly than an average person, than a man. So it was really, really funny. But yeah, he followed her. He literally just walked
He
and
did.
followed
Yeah.
her.
I
He didn't try to hide or
I
nothing.
like Danny's hot take here. Maybe Ben Tramer wasn't dressed up as Michael Myers. Maybe Michael Myers has been dressing up as Ben Tramer.
Oh yeah,
I like that because
Yeah,
we all know Ben
love that
Tramer
too.
is a godsend. He was the hottest guy in town. Everyone loved him. And I think that's the biggest reason that people are still upset about Michael Myers is,
Mhm.
took away Ben, guys.
Right.
Ben Tramer.
Right.
Mm-mm.
All right, let's see if we got. I saw a couple other good questions in here. Saw a good one from. Okay, do you think people give this version of Halloween a hard time because it's a different generation of horror than the original?
I think so, because it's a different take on Halloween than all the other ones, and it doesn't really go it goes a little bit coincide with the other ones, but not as much as the other ones go together. So I think people give this one a lot more criticism than all the other ones.
I could agree with that. I mean, again, you can't when you and the fandom for Halloween. I mean, it's passion. It's total passion. Just like with this current trilogy, you've got people on one side of the fence, you got people on the other side of the fence, and everybody has that. That's the gift and the curse of a franchise that stays around for so long, because you got certain people that will connect to certain movies. And like you said, right in the beginning of this show, Gory, this franchise has tried to do different things throughout all of the movies. So when you do different things throughout so many years, you're going to have different fans attached to different movies. So,
Yeah.
with this movie taking such a different approach from the previous 8, it's gonna be looked at differently. It's going to be kind of criticized a little bit differently. But I think ultimately people kind of came, not everyone, of course, but I think a lot of people came around to it and saw the positive in what they were trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
Hot take here, Cal L. I like this movie, but Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 is amazing. I think it's his best movie he's ever made. If you haven't seen the stream we did on that one, please check it out, because I think that one is horribly underrated and misunderstood.
It is.
Yeah, I feel like there's some good things about how I don't think it's a completely terrible movie like what some people think. I think it has its issues, but I think that Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 has some good things about it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a gorgeous film. I think it's one of the most beautiful slashers I've ever seen, since it's up there with like Stage Fright and some of the classics. It's beautifully shot, great character exploration. You guys
And
didn't
the
see
Brad
that stream.
Dourif as well.
He's amazing. He is amazing.
He's amazing in that.
Yeah.
I love him in that movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it made me want to see more of him. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's obviously had a great career, but seeing him in that role and seeing the things he was doing, the dramatic stuff especially, I was just like, man, we need more Brad Dourif in our lives. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
he's a
in real
brilliant
life,
actor.
I interviewed his daughter, and she's just so cute. Fiona's just like, my dad is not what people think he is. He is this weird little hermit. And she's like, nobody really gets to see that. And I feel like we got a peek at that in Halloween 2 and in this one, because Rob Zombie was like, can you do like the dad who's surrounded by too many women? And he's like, oh, I can do it. That's his life, just looking out for his girls. So yeah, I think we get a peek into who he actually is,
Yes.
And we get peeks of that in lots of other things too. Like I think we get peeks of it in Chucky. But this is the one where I think it's a little more easy to see.
Yeah.
Yep. Agreed.
All right, final thoughts, or either your final thoughts, something you've been holding on to, or your pitch for anybody who's still on the fence about giving this movie another shot, from each of you.
I think people should give this movie another shot just because it's a different take on it, and you actually get to see like Michael Myers' home life, and then leading up all the way until he does his first kill. Like he kills his family in this one, but he leads up to like his first like kills of people that are not his family, and you learn the relationship who Dr. Loomis is to him in the series, and how he does like how he gets hooked to the mask, how he becomes who he is, how he becomes the killer that we all know and love in this film. That's why I think you guys should watch it again.
Well said. For me, I think that it's an interesting take, on mythology and characters that have been around for so long through so many movies and sequels. I think there were some great performances. I think, and I haven't said this yet, but I think especially Sherry Moon Zombie. I think after Michael is committed, I think she had some really good scenes.
She is,
I
especially
think
the scene where she commits suicide. She is.
you
If
know
people don't think she can act, I think you need to watch this movie.
that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Seeing her go into to the sanitarium and trying to reconnect with this little boy that everyone is seeing as a monster. Some of those moments, I looked at her and I was like, you know what, you really can act, because it's not easy to pull off scenes like that. And there was a lot of great emotion and depth. So credit to Sherry Moon Zombie, especially in those scenes. I think those are some of the best scenes I've ever seen her do in a movie. But
I agree.
but the movie, I mean, at the end of the day, it's Michael Myers. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So if you're a Michael Myers fan, I definitely think you should check it out, give it a chance. I agree totally with Gory right from the beginning of the show. Theatrical cut is the way to go. I think that was the better version of the movie, and it's a lot of good stuff in it. It really is. So I think you should check it out.
Yeah, I personally, I think that the movie is underrated, and it gets a lot of hate that I don't particularly agree with. I
Mm.
think the casting is done really well. Even the music, the way that they did the new renditions of the Halloween music was very
Mhm.
well done in this.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I do, like everyone has said, the theatrical cut is definitely the way to go, because director's cut, they did too much unnecessary stuff. And
Yeah.
overall, I the people who hate it, probably like maybe give it a second chance, watch theatrical cut, because that's the way to go. There's a lot of layers to this remake, and I think
Mhm.
that's what sets this apart from all the other versions, like Halloween, 78, Halloween 2. And that's pretty much what sets this one apart, is the layers.
Yep.
And it's a good remake overall. Like, it's definitely, I would say, like at least top 5 remakes of all time. It's a good remake, and I definitely think it gets too much hate. Oh, hi, Rez.
Hi, baby kitty cat. Oh, I love your butt. Oh, that's it. I will say the only truly bad remakes, in my opinion, and I'm somebody who tries to be a champion for the B movie. The only truly bad remakes are ones that are soulless cash grabs. Child's Play, I'm looking at you. And ones that are beat for beat the same fucking movie, like Psycho and Cabin Fever. This movie is neither of those things.
Mhm.
It may not be your favorite, but if you hold it against 78, you're never going to really appreciate it. So put that aside, give this movie a chance at being its own thing, and see if you enjoy it. Because
Yeah.
I think there's a lot here. I think, like Romero said, there's layers. It's like an onion or a parfait, depending on how you see the world.
There you
Yeah,
go.
definitely.
Yes.
Couple quick questions. Where do you guys rank this movie?
Ooh, wow.
Matt wants to know where you guys rank it.
Man, that's
Dang,
hard.
that
I
is
put
tough.
it. I
man.
just looked. I had to go look because I couldn't remember. Like I said, it's not one of my favorites. I have this at number 10. But that's just because I like other ones more, not because I dislike this movie. I
Yeah.
don't really dislike any movies in this franchise, but I put
Right.
it above 5, and I put it above Resurrection.
I can't remember where I put this one, because I have a letterbox and I ranked these movies. I don't remember where I put this one. I think I put it like at least like within the top 10 or top 5. I can't remember for sure, but
Mm-hmm.
I remember ranking it pretty high.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't remember where I put it either. We did a ranking on it a year ago. I'm pretty sure it's maybe as high as 7 for me, because again, I think there was a lot of great stuff in it. It's definitely above Resurrection. It's above 5.
Oh, Resurrection's going to be a rough week, guys.
Yeah. I can't wait. I
Alcohol
can't wait
next
to see
week.
that. I'm ready for some
alcohol.
I'm ready
know,
for some
right?
Busta Rhymes, baby.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
I ranked this in my top 5. I think I ranked this one as 5, as my number 5 for Halloween.
Nice.
Mav wants to know from Brandon, do you prefer, and I guess for Katie too, because this is one of your favorites, do you guys prefer these Rob Zombie ones or the originals? Halloween 1 and 2, Rob Zombie, Halloween 1 and 2, Carpenter. I would go Carpenter, but
I prefer John Carpenter's Halloween's better, but I mean, like, these aren't bad movies.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Romeo, I think that nod means yes.
Yes.
Dapper Chucky agrees. And I know I don't even have to ask Knight, guys. I mean, if you know Knight and you watch the show, you should know the answer to this. And like I said, he's got a ranking video, so check that out. Absolutely, check that out. And I know Romeo and Knight are on Letterboxd. Katie, are you on Letterboxd?
Yes.
All right. If I'm already following you, we're gonna. And I'm gonna end this on a last awesome comment from Jim, the Joseph Hopper video vlog guy, longest name on YouTube. I'm going to rewatch Rob Zombie's Halloween movie sometime, but it was nice. Talk to y'all. See y'all later. I'm really glad if you guys are giving another chance. That's awesome because, nobody sets out to make a penny, and this is definitely a movie that I think has a lot more to offer than it gets credit for.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely, I'm glad we got to talk about it today. You guys brought some awesome insights. I loved getting into that Michael Myers brain with y'all. I'm excited to keep talking about Halloween because I just don't get tired of that. So next week of Halloween, oh boy, come with beer. We're doing it next week. Friday. It's going to be Friday next week. September 16th. Halloween Resurrection Trick or Treat Motherfucker Edition. I got Jay from Bloodbath TV coming. We're going to get our drink on. My buddy Kim and Strange Monkey. It's going to be crazy. Don't miss it. I hope to see you all back. And once again, thank you to Katie, Romeo, and Knight. You guys are fantastic, guys. Their links are in the description below. If you're not subscribed to all 3 of these channels, you are missing out. Guys, give you a chance to say goodbye.
Hi, Craven.
Oh, hey.
Hey,
Craven.
What's up? What's up, Craven?
I'm going to give you guys a chance to say goodbye, and then we out.
Yeah, thank you guys for hanging out. This has been really fun. Always great to talk some Michael Myers. And yeah, man, I mean, peace.
Keep on slashing.
Thank you.
Right?
Yeah, this is a lot of fun.
Oh, and did you guys want to say anything about like what you're working on or whatever too? You can throw in a plug there if you want.
Well, I am currently my slate is actually clear for the next couple of days, more so because of tech issues and stuff like that. But on Friday night, hopefully like around 8 or so, 8 o'clock at night or so, we'll be doing like a little mini celebration for hitting 4K subs. So I'll be putting up links and stuff hopefully soon.
Congrats.
So yeah, thanks
Yes,
much appreciated. Thank you, much appreciated. So that'll be fun.
Romeo, Katie, anything?
I don't really have anything going on. I'll tell you off camera, but I don't really have anything going on as far as videos this week or anything like that.
Yeah, I'm playing catch up. I am trying to catch up on videos. I have I think 3 to 5 videos recorded that I still need to edit, and so I'm doing that. And I'm also working on because I'm about to hit 10K very soon, so I'm working on trying to get some new channel art, and there's also some characters that I'm trying to bring to the channel that I've created.
Very cool.
Yeah, so it's going to be like a whole different tone for my channel. And so there's a lot going on. I'm just trying to get everything ready for when I hit 10K.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
I actually will not be here, even in the state, until Wednesday next week because Danny and I are celebrating our 10-year wedding anniversary. We're going to be going down to California, and for the first time ever, we're going to be hitting Halloween Horror Nights. We're going on the RIP tour. I am so excited. So I probably will not be on any of the social medias, or maybe I will. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But
never been to Halloween Horror Nights.
I
it's
can't
so
wait
much
to have
fun.
a Killer Clowns maze, guys. Come on.
Oh,
Mhm.
I'm super excited. This was fun. Everyone in the chat, my guests, you guys were amazing. And until we meet again, blessed be. You know what? All right, here we go. All right, wave.
Peace.
Bye, guys.